bring new brands to the channel often. Today we're taking a look at LIV watches. This is their dive watch in 41 millimeters. It has a PVD coated case and 300 meters of water resistance. This is a very robust, very well made dive watch. So let's flip the camera and take a look at LIV watches and their 41 millimeter dive watch. Dare to live, that is their motto. It's Dare to LIV, and it actually says it on the side of the box here. So a little funny, I think. This is just a plain soft touch box. It is, I believe, like a nylon material or leatherette. Opening this up, you also get a microfiber cloth. I don't have that here right now, but packaging, nothing too crazy, but it's all about the watch here. So this is the GX Diver's watch in 41 millimeters. This is a 300 meter dive watch, and this is the black version. I think they call it black on their website. I don't recall. It might be gray. I think it might be gray, actually. So this is essentially a gunmetal color is what I would call it. The entire watch is in this gunmetal finish. So it is a PVD coating on the entire watch, including the bezel, the crown, the case back. Everywhere on this watch has this coating. It's actually very nice. It's a really nice color. And I like that they did the entire watch. So it gives it the effect of almost titanium, but it is stainless steel. So it is a very weighty, very heavy watch. You also get a ceramic bezel, and I believe the bezel is lumed. We will do a lume shot at the end. The dial here is a little bit busy, but there is a lot going on. So you do have a sandwich portion of this dial. It's also pretty layered, and you have a textured area on this dial. You have applied indices, and you also get a minute track on the chapter ring. So starting with that chapter ring, there's a chapter ring, there's a minute track on that chapter ring. There's a little bit of orange accents on the chapter ring. It's really hard to see from this distance, so I'll do close-ups so you can see what I'm talking about. Below the chapter ring, of course, starts the dial. That is the textured portion of the dial. It's sort of a ring that goes around the entire dial that also has all of the applied indices and the sandwich indices as well. So that 12 and 6 are a sandwich portion in sort of a military font. Then there is a texture, as I mentioned. That texture is a wave pattern that goes all the way around that ring. There's a step below that, and that is just a matte area of the dial that has the logo in orange, and it also says LIV, and I believe it also says 300 meters. So this is a 300 meter dive watch. You have a ceramic bezel that is engraved, and as I mentioned, I think that does get lume. The hands here are sort of sword hands slash fence post hands that are segmented and filled with lume. And then you have an orange second hand with a counterbalance, a white tip. I don't know if that is lumed. We will do a lume shot at the end and check all of this out. As I mentioned, this is a 41 millimeter version. They make this in a 43 millimeter version, I want to say. This wears like a 40 millimeter. So this says the measurement here is 40.4 millimeters, but you do have these crown guards, so I guess that's why they're calling it a 41 millimeter watch, but this is definitely a 40 millimeter watch. That's my measurement here. You get a giant grippy crown that is signed with an orange logo on it. This is a really nice crown, very easy to use. Big, 7.8 millimeters, probably the biggest crown that I've ever seen on a 40 millimeter watch. Very impressive, and it looks good. The design looks good. I really do like it. It has crown guards as well, so it sort of accentuates the crown a little bit. 12.8 millimeters, so basically 13 millimeters thick. And then the lug to lug, you do have male end links, but on a strap, this will wear like a 48 and change, so 48.7 millimeter lug to lug. And then at the bracelet, you're getting an effective lug to lug of 52.9 millimeters. You don't get drilled lugs, and I believe you do not get quick release. No, there is no quick release on here, so you're going to need to be very careful when removing the bracelet and wanting to change to a strap. that is definitely something to keep in mind. I wish they would put a little bit of a quick release on here, not a little bit, an entire quick release, I should say. That would be very, very helpful. The bracelet is an oyster style bracelet, again finished in that PVD coat, and then you get push pins for each one of the links, so you're getting 2 per link, and that is because there are 2 pieces to each link. Also, there is no half links, as you can see, and then you have 4 positions of micro adjust. This is manual micro adjust. I think at this price I would like to see some on the fly micro adjust as well. It's signed really nicely with the LIV logo, their logo, and then LIV right there. It's a single fold over. It looks really good, but it's kind of a typical micro brand buckle. I would like to see something a little bit more, but the movement is actually a little bit more, I would say. It's an elaborate grade SW200, so you have a really nice movement on here that looks really good. And it has a really custom rotor on it with some orange and black. It's a limited edition. I'm not exactly sure what this is limited to, but I will put that down in the description below for those who are interested. And then of course you have a sapphire crystal front and back, and it gives you all the information here. This is a Swiss made watch, so the entire watch is Swiss made. Pretty cool. And a very good looking watch, very good looking movement. And like I said, it's a elaborate grade, so you're getting decorating, you're getting blued screws, you get a little perlage, which looks very, very good. So there you go. A very good looking watch in my opinion. That applied orange logo goes with the little bit of orange that you get in the crown. There's a little bit of orange in that chapter ring. You have orange on the second hand. And then of course, when you flip over the watch, there is orange in the movement on the rotor. And then you have orange in the crown on the side of the crown. So really keeping the theme throughout the entire watch. Maybe a little bit of orange on the actual bracelet would have been cool. But that would probably rub off really quickly, so I guess that's the reason why they didn't do it. Now, the price on this is $712. It's a 300-meter dive watch, so you do get pretty good water resistance with this. There's a lot that goes into it with the PVD coating, the custom rotor, the elaborate grade movement, and all of that stuff. They put a lot of sort of thought and interest into the dial as well, but still at $712, I think it's a little bit expensive. I would have liked to see a little bit more micro adjust, on the fly micro adjust at that price. Other than that, I think it's a really nicely made watch. Feels very robust in hand. It's actually pretty heavy. And all in all, a very good looking watch. But let me show it to you on my 7.5 inch wrist, and then we will do a lume shot. I don't know if the lume on this watch is any good. I am very interested to see if the bezel is lumed. That would make this a little bit more attractive at this price. But very quickly, I have on my Bulova mill ships today. This is a vintage inspired watch, inspired by the original Bulova mill ships that never went into production. It was a prototype, and I've been wearing this over the past few days for a few different reasons, but I really love this watch. It was one of my favorite watches that I purchased last year. I think it's just a really cool watch and very well made as well. So here is the LIV on my 7.5 inch wrist, and I think it does wear like a 40 millimeter watch, but since it's kind of robust, it has these big lugs and the big crown with crown guards, it wears a little bit bigger than 40 millimeters. It wears like a 41 millimeter, it just doesn't measure that way. So that could be the reason why they mentioned this as a 41 millimeter on their website, not a 40 millimeter watch. But either way, looks really good. You also get the date. There's a little surround around the date, and it is color matched, so it doesn't really stand out very, very much, which of course I like. Anyway, very quickly, let's do a lume shot and then wrap up the video. Very quickly, I did not do the bezel action. I do want to do bezel action really quickly, so let's listen to that. Bezel action on here is very good. It's a little bit hard to grip, not because the bezel isn't grippy, it's just because it's a little bit recessed, or maybe thin, I guess you could say, not recessed. It's a little bit thin. It's not very high off the top of the watch. I guess that adds to the thinness of the watch because it is below 13 millimeters thick. And I think that that's the reason why it's a little bit harder to grip. But other than that, it is grippy. It's just hard for my hands because I have large hands and it's hard for me to grip the bezel a little bit. But you can see here that the bezel is lumed and liberally applied with lume. The indices, which are applied, those are filled with lume. And then of course that sandwich portion, again, filled with lume. And then you have a little bit of lume on the second hand, on the tip of the second hand. You can see right there, that is the red second hand. When I light this up, you could actually see all of the orange accents sort of light up as well. And then you have lume in the hands, sandwich portion also lumed. So liberally applied with lume here. So I'm very happy about that. Very good lume, very impressive. $712, still considering everything, I think is on the higher end. It is a Swiss-made dive watch with an Elaborate SW200. So that's kind of where most of the money is being spent. Of course, they went pretty liberally on the lume as well, and you get a ceramic bezel. Very nice bracelet, and it's PVD coated. So I think you could get this on a strap without the PVD coating and all of that stuff, and it's a little bit cheaper. So if you like this watch, but you don't need all of that, you can get something that's a little bit cheaper on their website. Definitely check out their website. I will put a link to their website down in the description. If you're interested in this watch, definitely check them out. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.